Good morning, YouTube. And to those who have subscribed to this channel, thank you for your support. So it's been a little over 3 weeks since I've done a video, and I want to get into some details and just preface that the details I'm going to get into are for the benefit of sharing and a kind of camaraderie that is also woven into the intent for this channel. But it's taken me some time to take off one version of my head and put on another. I didn't prepare any kind of sharing dialogue prior to hitting record. It's usually better in my nature to just share intuitively, and so here we go. So over the last 3 weeks, I feel that the void has been very present in my life, and like a real presence, not a condition, let's say, but something that visits and stays for however long, and then unweaves itself or stops weaving. You can choose your metaphor. So it's afforded me some time to think about priorities and how I spend time, what I say, what I focus on. And a big part of this channel, if not all, for the most part, was born from my political analysis and ongoing personal sharing of what I feel and what I know and the facts surrounding the Middle East crisis. And I feel like internally I'm not retreating from that position. No apologies, no edits. Everything that's in front of me and behind me stands as it stands, including my Substack, which is also called Paradox House. It's a kind of personal diary, a journal of sorts, of my emotional and thought journey through everything that's made its way to me around Gaza, Lebanon, ultimately Iran. And it's been a huge journey into the historical, the current, the various versions of reality, ahistorical, propagandists the true history of America itself, which I came into the political analysis realm already knowing that the history that we Gen Xers as kids were presented was simply cherry-picked and ultimately not true because the context was missing. So one thing that comes to mind is that when you have to militarize your specialness, that ought to tell you something about the quality of that specialness, its insecurities, and its level of obstinance to willfully separate itself from others. Sometimes separateness is a condition, something that a child learns to protect itself, its essence, its innocence. And other times it's simply something for a misguided intellect to pursue that's easier than learning how to guide itself with morals, principles, character, ethics. So here's some things I've learned over the last 3 weeks. People have triggers. And those triggers can trigger other subtle triggers in others that may look like intellectual wisdom or a pursuit of guiding another person's reactions to liberate themselves. But it's uninvited guidance. It's guidance that comes from having been triggered. And love makes mistakes. It's just that simple. It's not an objective phenomenon that shares its vast knowledge to everyone who harbors it. It's something that each person starts with an infant version of it and slowly raises it like a child. And that child learns, and sometimes its growth gets stunted. And time does it no favors if you don't make the effort to investigate every effect of the causes that you put out into the world. So for me, the void is a space where you keep your eyes open and you say nothing. And you give your thoughts and your feelings time to wrestle in private until something that dignifies your character emerges from that cave. The artwork has been under question. The efforts, the direction, the reasons. And at this point, I'm still trying to develop a reason to get back into it. During this 3 weeks, I've kind of felt like a ghost visiting my daily life, watching it play out beside myself. It's been a rather disconcerting situation. I see the responsibilities, I pursue them, I fulfill them. But a little part of me doesn't believe in them, understands that they're simply part of the day-to-day that I've been doing since I was 12 years old. Mowing lawns and selling cards to earn points to get stuff. So I think, at least for myself, there comes a time, and it's happened before, but not for this extended period of time, where you don't necessarily lift the curtain and see what's on the other side. You crawl inside the fabric that the curtain is made of, and you journey across the texture of the fabric, and you listen to where it came from, and you are introduced to the fingerprints that wove it, and the individuals and their conversations while weaving this curtain, and the hooks and the forgers of those hooks that hold the curtain on the rod, and the rod and the wall that it's connected to, and the building. And inside all that, there's like a kind of learning that there's a deeper something occurring underneath all the daily news, religion, philosophy, technology, science. That something else is happening. That it's not necessarily just what's in front of the curtain and what's behind the curtain. It's also the curtain. That it has a life of its own. And it's the only thing that divides the front and the back, that defines it. Once it's opened into either side of the stage, it stands guard. Now the front has become the back, and the back has become the front. But it's a kind of game. A game so serious that it's wouldn't call it a secret, but it's not obvious. Like a coin's three sides isn't obvious. The edge is the third side. And inside the edge, there's a void. And inside that is, at least for myself, I'm not speaking, trying not to necessarily assume an objective point of view here, but my sense of it is that the individual has a much deeper relationship with nothingness than all that fills it and defines us. So from that foundation of presence in nothingness, the context changes a lot. You, or at least I, go about my daily life understanding that each person is a unique, hermetically sealed, evolutionary miracle of sorts. And everything's happening from the inside out. So there's a lot of tentativeness in the air for me. Vulnerability and fragileness. That there's a kind of futility to being so caught up in what's behind the curtain and what's in front of it, when ultimately it's the same thing, because the curtain defines it as this and that. So to get to know the curtain can be a little off-putting. And the things that you learn and the experiences that you're having while in that learning brings back knowledge and understandings that are, in a sense, very dangerous in this world, because this world is not about understanding the curtain. It's about distinguishing front and back. And there's a lot of money and power and legacy wealth and militarized defensiveness, egos, black ops around defending the belief of front and back, this and that, us and them. This whole system that only humans follow, at least as aggressively as they do. there are undertows of similar hierarchies in nature, but they're incomparable to the level of investment and supposed sophistication that humans have given it. I would say that hierarchy is much more innocent, let's say, or abstract. And yet, who knows? Perhaps its version in that world of nature has its own similar library of drama and things to make your way through as a mind inside that software. So with this channel, I'm going to go forward the best I can. And I'm not altogether sure how I'm going to approach the same subjects going forward. My sense is to give only what is good, not necessarily that critique is not good or condemnation is not needed or good in its overall defense of the innocent. But the form that it takes is going to change, I feel. Making this video today is more of a first step of sorts, a kind of proclamation, I guess, of a shift, a change. There's a lot that has been wiped away that I invested in and believed in and was energized around. And so there's a restructuring occurring. And all I can say is that I hope that I'm making sense to someone, that when I say the void, a lot of people are going to interpret that. And then others won't be able to interpret it because they feel it. They understand. It's not something that can really lend itself to words. And rightly so. It wouldn't be what it is if there were words. But it does teach. It does show. And I feel the closest thing to it is that which everyone has underneath all their biases, belief systems, personal philosophies, triggers, excuses, justifications, denials, loves, passions, stories, is the simple presence of their individual sense of self. without mind activity, without having to think to be yourself. And for, I would say, the large majority of people, the closest recollection and anchor point to that is their childhood. And I hope that this sharing today helps someone. If so, leave a comment. It would be good to hear from people who relate. Or don't. That's okay too. I think that's it for today. I wish you all the very best in being a spectator and the actor, but also neither. That it's okay to practice letting go of the news, of what others think of you, of finding ways to do things to achieve a result that gets you praise or criticism. The self will take anything it can get to feel real. And that's okay too. That's part of the exercise. Feeling real. The surreal feeling real. Thank you again for supporting this channel.